So today is January 2nd, 2023, and today I want to talk about one of my more cynical views on humanity as of late. I don't know if it's actually like a view, it's more of an observation just in my life. That just kind of sucks, but I'm going to explain it to you. And in simple terms, it's, you know, you can't expect anybody to help you. They have no obligation to help you. So don't expect a lot. And if they do, then that's awesome. But more likely than not, even if they say they're going to help you, don't expect anything. If you want to get something done, especially for you, you got to do it yourself. And so some of the context for this, a year ago, my friend wrote a book. He asked me to not proofread it, but just read the draft and just give him some pointers on what I thought. And since, I like writing, I like being creative, I took it upon myself to read it, and I said, yes, I would love to. And I started off pretty strong reading it, and then over time it just kind of got pushed back. And it was a big book, but I'm a slow reader. Honestly, I'm terrible at reading. But it just kind of got pushed back. And a couple months go by, and I'm like, fuck, I told this man I was going to read this book. So I buckled down and I read it. And I got through it. And I took some notes about what I thought. And I eventually met up with him. I presented what I thought. And he told me, I don't want to get emotional about it, but for some reason it gets me emotional. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no bitch. I'm not gonna cry on screen right now, but basically he told me, he was like, "Damn, you're the only guy who's read it." And I'm like, "Damn, that sucks." I was the only one who said they read it fully. He had given it to a few other people, and I was the only one who got back to him on it. I was like, "Damn, that sucks. I should have read this so much faster," But that was the situation. I felt terrible. I'm glad I read it and I gave it back to him and all that, but I just felt terrible for taking so long to do it. But then a couple months go by, right? And I decided I would write a movie script, like a full-length, feature-length script, in the span of November for NaNoWriMo. And I didn't really expect anybody to read it. I just wanted to have it for myself. But I put on my social media, and I just said, wrote a script, boom, here it is. Here's the log line, right? And one of my family members, not like direct family members, but just a family member, reached out, and then a couple coworkers reached out, and they're like, "Hey, that sounds awesome. Can I read this?" And I'm skeptical because, again, I don't know what they perceive of what the quality of the script is, but it's a rough draft. It's a cohesive story, but it is written in a month. So I cautiously said, "Hey, okay, well, this is what it is. Love to get your feedback on it. Don't expect the world when you read this. It's not Steven Spielberg or something like that. It's just a script I wrote, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about my friend and his experience with his work, and so I'm not really expecting too much. I'm expecting something from my family member, but not from my coworkers, And a month goes by, and I'm like, I was slow to read a book, so it's slow to read a script. But then a couple more months go by, and another couple more months go by, and no one said anything. I'm like, well, they either didn't get through it and they forgot about it, which sucks, or they did get through it and didn't want to say anything about it, which sucks, or they just didn't care and were just asking for my script, just see what it's all about, which sucks. But again, I had that thought in my head of how my friend had his experience. So I was like, I'm not too worried about it. It sucks they didn't do it, and I wanna call them out for it, but I won't. Like, what am I supposed to gain from that? Just it's been over a year now, so um, but that was in the past. Now in the present, I didn't really think too much about this view, but just so happens at the end of the last year I had started writing a different script, right? And there was a point where I got to a spot where I was like, dang, I got writer's block. I don't know exactly how the main character works in his job. I don't know exactly. There's some philosophical questions that need to be answered, and just so happens in my apartment there's this guy who had that same job and could probably answer those questions. And so I was talking to him. He's a great guy, and I told him I was writing a script. Just so happens he told me that was his occupation, and I was like, oh, crazy. And so we kind of talked for a long time, and he's very interested in the story. I'm still trying to figure out the story, and at the end he was like, well, just send me some ideas, or send me some of your questions, and I would be happy to answer them, And so I was like, again, a little cautious. I mean, he seemed cool, but I was like, well, I'll figure it out myself. I'll figure it out. But then the next time we met, he asked me again. He was like, hey, how's that story going? I was like, okay, this man's interested. He's following up the story, And I told him, I was like, well, still got those questions. I should reach out, So he was like, all right, just send me those questions. So I sent him a list of like 10 questions, 10 to 15 questions max, all philosophical / clarification questions in terms of the occupation. And I know this man has a life, has a family, all that type of stuff. So I was like, oh well, a week should be enough time. Well, now it's been like 3 weeks, and this man hasn't gotten back to me. And it's not like I keep in touch with this man regularly. I see him like maybe once a month or so. So, while I shouldn't have expected anything too much, I definitely had more. I guess I had more of an expectation from him because he had shown more interest than most people in a certain topic. And again, I get it. He does have a job, he does have a family and all that stuff. So, it is on the back burner. It's not like a pressing issue. But I've come to learn that sometimes doing things, if you want to get things done, you just do them yourself. Don't hand out your personal work to people you truly don't believe will get to it, because they probably won't, at least in my experience. And and instead of ending on a not so great note, I would love to turn it in a way that is forward thinking. I think there are a couple people in my life who will go out of their way to help me out in any way, which is great. I know I can call on them, and they will do their best, even if it's not their skill set. Like, I'm not expecting someone to reach out to a friend to help me with screenwriting, especially if they don't know screenwriting, or storytelling or anything like that. But I know there's a couple people who will give me their opinions, and they'll get back to me within a reasonable time frame, which is great. The majority of people aren't that way, but I'm glad I have a couple people in my life who will. So yeah, there's that. And then I would say, for all you who are watching this, I suggest, being that person in someone's life to help them out when they ask. And until then, I'm going to go cry, and you will see me tomorrow. Hopefully. I love you. Until next time, bye.